Supplies used on this build were one sheet of 3mm foam, some scrap 1/2-inch foam, Velcro, contact cement, plasti dip, spray paint, a razor knife, heat gun, glue gun, a Dremel, a couple of pins, heavy duty adhesive, and an airbrush. Hey guys, welcome to Raw Customs. I'm your host Patrick Rapola, and on this episode I'm going to be showing you how I made Spider-Man's web shooters here, guys. Now with the new Spider-Man Homecoming movie coming out, I'm pretty excited to watch that. I always liked Spider-Man. Thought he was a cool character, you know, always with the little smart aleck mouth and all of that. Looked like he always had fun beating up the bad guys, which who wouldn't enjoy doing that, right? Anyways, I spent a little bit of time researching the web and finding pictures of the actual shooters. So I tried to design them as close as possible, and I actually made it where the cartridges come out and you can slide them in. So if you're doing want to do an actual video shooting stuff, I figure, you know, that would be a kind of cool thing to do, is put in the web shooters. Because I always like that about Spider-Man, that he was always running out of web, you know, and then having to put in another cartridge or get in trouble he didn't have any more left. Anyways, guys, this is actually a pretty simple build. I do have the templates. You'll find those in the description below. And as far as supplies and stuff, it's pretty low on that too as well. You're going to need one sheet of 3mm foam. I was able to cut and make both of the shooters out of one sheet. You're going to need some 1/2-inch foam, just some scrap. That'll be thick enough to make the center section here. That's just those squares that click together, you know, and the ones for the floor. And also just a couple of click pins, something you can pull the end off of, that's silver, that you can use for that little section right there, the actual shooter. Also, guys, if you'd like to fund me, I'm actually on TAD now. Sorry, guys. I actually have a TAD account. You can find that in this. There's a link in the description below. You can just go to TAD, click on it, and it's just, if you haven't heard of it, all it is an app. You can watch commercials on it and then build up TADs, and then you can fund your creator. So for me, you just type in Raw Customs, hit fund, and you funded my channel and helped me out, and it's much appreciated. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe. I got tons of ideas I'm working on, especially to help you guys out. A lot of y'all asked me to actually build stuff for you, and I honestly don't have time. I work 10 to 12 hours a day, so it's kind of an impossibility at this point for me to build stuff for you. However, I have invested in an actual laser cutter, which allows me to do a design and then the laser cut it out, and I could actually, my idea is to actually build like kits, like model kits, where I'll be able to size it for you and then ship it to you, and then you'll put it together and everything will have a perfect cut and go together perfectly for you. These are actually cut out on the laser for the most part, and made life real easy for me. Well, alright guys, enough jibber jabber, let's get to the build. I started out by tracing the templates on the 3mm foam. First, the main body was traced. Next, the overlays were placed into position and traced onto the main body. This will give me a reference on where to apply my glue later. Once all the pieces were traced onto foam, they were cut out using a razor knife. Here I'm just having a quick look to see how everything's going to come together. The template for the web shooter was actually traced onto 1/2-inch foam and then cut out using a razor knife. At this point I took the templates into the computer and redesigned them so that everything could be cut out on my laser cutter. The pieces were laid out and stacked up. so that I could have a look at how everything was going to come together. To shape the web shooter, I used a Dremel with a grinding stone. When using a Dremel or a rotary tool, it's a good idea to just be patient and take off a little bit at a time. Here I'm going ahead and beveling the edges, or beveling each side, as well as beveling the back. The front of the shooter was marked and shaped with the Dremel as well. For the spray nozzle, I actually used a clicker off the back of a pen. An area was carved into the web shooter for the piece to set. For the web cartridges, I sanded the bottom side so that they would sit a little lower when inserted, and the top edges were rounded over. Contact cement was applied to the main body and the back side of the overlay pieces. The entire contact surface was covered so that I would have good adhesion. Once the glue had set up, I started assembly by pressing the web shooter into place on the main body. That was followed up by laying in place the first layer of overlays, making sure to line them up flush on the back side. The cement was applied for the top layer of overlays. The top layer was laid into place following the registration lines. Next, a heat gun was used to make the foam more pliable. This allows you to bend and form the foam, and once cooled, it will hold its shape. For a little bit of last minute design work, slits were cut into the top of the web shooter and then heated with the heat gun so that they would open. Next, Velcro with an adhesive back was cut to size and stuck into place where the wristband overlaps each other. Next, adhesive was used to fill in the gaps between the web shooter and the first layer of overlays. Then my finger was used to remove the excess, and putting water on the end of my finger allows me to smooth it out a little bit nicer. Once the adhesive was dry, I applied 2 coats of Plasti Dip. That was followed up by 2 coats of flat black paint. Then, using the stencil and a silver Sharpie, I colored in the front portion of the web shooter.
Hot glue was used to glue the pin clicker into place to act as the web sprayer. Then an airbrush was used to spray paint the cartridges gray and then add a little red to the ends.
Alright guys, there you go, a web shooter. I'll give you a nice look at it there. This one's actually cut out, like I said, with my laser cutter. You can see the nice lines that you can adjust and put in here. Give it a really nice look. Now, you can cut this by hand, don't guys, just like anything else. This was built and cut completely by hand. It's still a good looking piece. If it was finished out, you wouldn't see a whole lot of difference between this one and the one I cut out with the laser. This is actually, if I put this on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd actually give this a 2 to 3 as far as how simple it is to put together. The hardest part is just cutting the pieces out and using the Dremel to build the center section. Now this is one I built for my son. You see I sized it down quite a bit, but for the web nozzle, I actually just dremeled in a raised piece to act as the web shooter. We want to shoot a little Spider-Man video, so I built these for him. And you can actually see quite a bit of size and scale. So I actually made a video to accompany this one, which is how to size these. So go ahead and check that out if you plan on building these. It'll definitely help you out. But it's also I also filmed it so that you'll be able to use the Inkscape program is what I use, and you'll be able to use that for other templates to size up as well. Alright guys, that's it for this build. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.